We're moving on to other news. The Greek Prime Minister, Kyriakos Mitsotakis, says his country will be extending its territorial water claims westward in the Ionian Sea. It is a legal expansion. It is an area between Greece and Italy, so it doesn't directly affect the territorial claims at the centre of the dispute with Turkey. However, Mitsotakis added Greece may increase its claims in other maritime areas in the future.
Greece will extend the coastal zone to the west from 12 to 6 miles. Greece is growing. Others have said this, but we're the ones who are putting this into practice.
Before that announcement was made, Recep Tayyip Erdogan warned Greece not to test Turkey's patience. President Erdogan added that Turkey will never compromise on what is ours. The two countries are in a standoff over maritime borders in the eastern Mediterranean and the potential natural gas wealth beneath it.
We are determined to do whatever is necessary in the military, political and economic sense. We invite our counterparts to get it together and avoid mistakes that would bring their destruction.
Live to Berlin now, Dominic Kane is with us as EU defence ministers meet to discuss this. This is quite a job they've got ahead of them to bring the peace between Greece and Turkey.
The point about this meeting has been what the EU is calling its two-year strategic compass. And in effect, this meeting has been all points east and southeastern Europe, specifically this situation building up in the eastern Mediterranean, how to resolve the tensions in a peaceful way between Greece and Turkey. The problem being that given that it's an EU meeting, Turkey is not part of the EU and therefore is not in these meetings, whereas Greece and Cyprus are as member states of the European Union, both those countries embroiled in this tension with the Turkish government. And although the Turkish government has no representation at this meeting, the comments, the views from the Turkish government, from President Erdogan, very much at that meeting. Interestingly, the EU has no military role of substance in this area, whereas NATO does. And of course, Turkey and Greece are members of NATO. And so Jens Stoltenberg, the General Secretary of NATO, who was at this meeting in Berlin on Wednesday, was calling upon both countries to step back, to try to ease the tensions between them. The interesting thing is that there will be further such meetings, but this time involving foreign ministers of EU countries in Berlin on Thursday, where again this topic will certainly be to the forefront.
Thank you, Dominic Kane, following European developments in Berlin there. We've also heard from the UN Secretary-General's spokesman who says they're following these developments in the eastern Mediterranean very closely.
I think it's important, given the number of parties engaged, as you noted, different military exercises or maneuvers, that all the parties involved engage in dialogue and solve their differences in accordance with the principles enshrined in the Charter.
Just a little background on this and how these Mediterranean divisions appear on the map. Cyprus is claiming this section to the east, and Greece claims the area to the west. The area shown in stripes you've got there is Turkey's exclusive economic claim, but Turkey's been drilling in that yellow area there for years, in fact. So we're going to talk to Chronis Kapalidis about this, a maritime security analyst at Chatham House in London. Nice to have you with us, sir. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that actually Turkey has in the past made these sorts of expansions out into the sea. So Greece would probably just say, well, what you can do, we can do as well.
In order to be able to answer that question, we need to go back to 1982, when the right to countries to expand to 12 nautical miles the territorial waters was granted. And if we look at the statistics, we will actually see that Turkey did apply that right and expanded to 12 nautical miles in the Black Sea and the Eastern Mediterranean. It didn't do so at the Aegean Sea because it declared that there were issues that had to be resolved with Greece. But up until today, when the Greek Prime Minister announced that Greece will be expanding to 12 nautical miles in the Ionian Sea, looking at Italy, Greece was the only country globally that was still at 6 nautical miles. Greece doing that, expanding to 12 nautical miles in the Ionian Sea, does understand that there are issues with Turkey, so it is something that has to be discussed.
Right, so it is a legal move that the Greeks are taking. It's in an area, as we said, closer to Italy than anything else. But it is, I guess, the type of thing which will worry Turkey. What do you make of the Turkish reaction? Is it almost turning into threats from them now?
Well, what Greece is doing is another piece in the puzzle of building up tensions between the two countries. Of course, none of them wants to use military force to try to resolve this, but we are seeing that Greece is probably trying to push its EU counterparts to take a clear stance to support Greece, because we are seeing that individual states like France, for example, are supporting Greece, but Germany has a very neutral approach, and the EU has only up to now expressed its solidarity. On the Turkish side, we are seeing a much more aggressive narrative, and of course, we should be very cautious because we are seeing a lot of military assets, a lot of naval vessels in a very small area for a prolonged period, and that could lead to serious incidents.
Do you think the EU can find a resolution to this? Our reporter was talking about the delicate job they've got there.
Someone should play the role of the third party that is going to bring the two countries into the table to discuss and resolve this. Back in 1996, when there was a crisis at the Inia Islands near Kalymnos, it was the US who did that. Now it seems that the EU is in a much better position to try and resolve this. Both countries have expressed their interest to sit on the table and discuss, but it cannot be done with military assets in the region at the same time.
All right. Chronis Kapalidis joining us from Chatham House today. Thank you for your time, sir. We do appreciate it.